Hi, welcome to the pursuit of truth. Sort of on the back of that last one, I was thinking about that the podcast I just did, and it struck me as how I went from one end of the extreme to the other, in the sense that I was talking about things that human beings do, and then almost not justification, but just the idea of, I know, I'm thinking about it myself, thinking, like if I was back in the 20s or whatever, when the assertion I made that I could have been a Nazi, probably not the best thing to say about yourself, but I was just trying to be honest in the sense that we often say things like that, we judge people, but I think that's the key thing actually, the judgment. That's maybe our biggest human failing, the way that we treat other people. And I was thinking about, about what I was talking about, that, all of us, we do things, some bigger than others. You could put, I don't know, murderers at one scale, and I don't know, people who download movies at another scale or something like that. There's different levels of things we do that are considered bad. Maybe they're not bad. I mean, well, obviously murdering is pretty bad, but I mean, like downloading movies, you could have an argument about that. But there's lots of things that we invent, rules. That you must pay your TV license, or these are made up rules, as it were, to keep businesses happy and keep them rolling in money. But I was thinking to myself, why is it, when, all of us have committed things, I say committed is probably the wrong word, done things that we regret, or things that are considered socially not great things to do in our past, and we keep repeating those mistakes often. And I'm wondering why is that? And I think it's all to do with this judgment aspect. Why isn't it people can't just come out and say, I did this or I did that. It's like, even I noticed in my podcast when I was talking about, myself and, the things that I'm not happy about, that I feel guilty about. I put the disclaimer at the end there, always not criminal. I was sort of trying to, safeguard people thinking that I'm a murderer or something, like like my story of Jacob Jakes. But yeah, I think that is the key, is judgment, isn't it? That's why, we could help each other so much more if we didn't have this fear of judgment. I don't know, is it intrinsic? Is it something we're taught? Is it because there's so much, I'm thinking these days it comes from young age. Like I was thinking before, this idea of why do we love authority, not love authority, but why do we follow authority? We don't even question it a lot of the time. There's businesses, government, schools, etc. like that, prime ministers, presidents, premiers. And I realised that the first example a child gets of authority, unfortunately, is parents. It's us. It's not schools, governments, we blame them, but it's actually us parents. Because when there's a child, we say to that child, and we have to, because we're safeguarding that child's well-being. Like if it's going next to an electric cable, or a plug or a socket or something, we tell our child, no, stop, move away from there. We will sometimes move the child away. All of that is where authority comes from, because we are their first authority figure, the parents. So a lot of times we blame, authority, when it comes to governments and stuff like that, but it actually started with us parents. I mean, maybe it's possible. I know there are some parents that don't like to say no to their children. But even so, by the fact of being a parent, you are an authority figure, because children look up to their parents for guidance, and that is some form of authority. So yeah, so I'm just wondering if also this judgment aspect, it probably is, that we can't feel open Because, if someone was, say, a murderer, yeah, let's just go to the extremes. It's easy when we go to the extremes, isn't it? Although it may be a bit fallacious. But let's just say you're a murderer, and you come out and say, I'm a murderer. Well, the first thing, everything, they're going to judge you as a bad person, and they're going to lock you up. That's it. End of story. There's no kind of, I suppose the thing is, a murder is probably not a great example, because, maybe someone accidentally murdered someone, or, I don't know, maybe I'm becoming too, not kind, too sort of understanding of the human endeavour and the way that we become who we are, and how much of it is actually us. But I'm just thinking, if you've got like a serial killer, if that murderer was able to, we're talking about time now, but if at the first instance he was able to, or she, talk to someone, then maybe the next murders would never have happened. Maybe I should maybe going to the most extreme probably wasn't the best way, because I'm never going to win that argument. Alright, say you've got someone who bullies someone. Well, the thing is, most people don't reflect upon their guilt, do they? They don't feel guilty about the things they do until it's too late, or till someone stands up in front of them and shows them a mirror, or shames them, or they get caught out. I don't know. It was just me thinking about this. There is a problem where people can't talk about things because they're always fearing judgment. Even when you come to the flat earth and false flags and things like that, when people talk about these things, they instantly get judged. Oh, you're a crackpot, you're crazy, you're denying reality, and yeah, it's a real problem, and I don't know where we get it from. But yeah, I suspect it is taught. And the other thing, I was listening to Infinity's video still, and I was listening to Vegan Warriors as well. I think it was in Subtle's video, the Instagram compilation 21. And I know I've heard it in other people's videos as well recently about protein. And this is another major lie within plain sight. People always talk about, I read it when my wife was pregnant, getting protein and all this kind of stuff. Listed chicken, beef, those are the top ones, and plants and vegetables are a lot lower down. But it turns out that protein is actually in the plants and the vegetables, and the meat, that when you eat it, you're getting second-hand protein, because those animals eat the protein from the plants and the vegetables. And so, therefore, the source of the protein is the original, not secondary. But even the NHS and people like that are propagating that lie, that the best protein is to eat is second-hand protein. How can second-hand protein be better to eat? Well, unless maybe it could store up more of it in that small amount of space, I don't know. But you often see written down, they'll always put chicken and beef as, top protein, whereas vegetables and plants, where the protein comes from, are way down the list. Yeah, so that was another thing I was thinking of. I think that's enough for now, isn't it? I seem to have waffled these last few podcasts. Hope I'll get a better one later. Take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.